is the Spirit of Christ. And all of God's people said, amen. Now I have to tell you that lighting the peace candle is one of my favorite acts of worship. I enjoy doing that every Sunday. And so I thought that it might be really nice for all of us to light a candle of peace today. So on your table are some small tea candles, a coffee candle and some small tea candles. And I want to invite you, each and every one of you, to light your own candle of peace and to just set it in front of you. And then we're going to do just a little bit of contemplative prayer. So please go ahead, light your fire. With that small candle of peace blazing in front of you, what I'd like you to be prayerful about is, what is it that ignites your sacred passion for the world? What is it inside of you that ignites you with sacred passion for the world? Go ahead, gaze at that fire and think of that. And then continuing to look at that candle, to gaze inwardly into your heart and to your spirit, I want you to ask the question, what would it mean for you to become fire? In this prayerful spirit, let us now pray together. Spirit of fire, pray with me, please. Spirit of fire, you revealed yourself through the burning bush and the fiery courage of Pentecost. Fiery Spirit, source of all creative power, kindle your holy spark within me. Breathe into me your sacred passion. Fill me with your flame until I have become fire, offering warmth and light to the world. Spirit of refining fire, help me to release what no longer serves me, to make room for your light to fill me. Blessings of fire be upon me. May the light of God illuminate me, and may the flame of love burn brightly in me. May I discover each day anew my own hidden fire and enter it fully. Amen. And in that spirit of fire, let's rise up and sing together.
Rising
the sun goes down, let the name of the Lord be praised. Amen. If you will go ahead and have a seat. So you all know that each and every Coffeehouse worship, we take up two offerings. We take up a loose change offering, and then we also take up an offering for the life and the ministries of our church. And we're going to do that in just a minute, because we believe that through our loose change, we can change the world. However, before we get to our loose change offering, I want us to look at a video that is all about what is happening with our dream team. Now, you may or may not have heard that the dream team has been at work for over a year. And what they've been doing is that they have been gathering information about what is happening in our community and what can we do to begin to find some solutions to affordable housing. How can we partner with other people to bring about affordable housing? And that's just what we've determined we are going to do, is we're going to partner with some organizations that are already in existence, already doing really good work. And together, we're going to raise money to be able to support these people. Our goal is to raise over $1 million. That's a lofty dream, but it's all right. We know how to dream. Now, last week, when we looked at one of the organizations that we're going to support for the Dream Team, one of the things that I asked you to be attentive to was to how we are not just meeting a need, but how we are actually trying to transform lives. So now this time, what I really want you to pay attention to with the YWCA is that this work that they do is all about actually transforming systems. And that's a whole different level of work. So let's see and look and listen and how we can participate in this dream of changing systems.
YWCA Kalamazoo. How may I help you? I'm gonna do what I can to assist you. If I can't help, I'm gonna find someone here who can.
I'm here to listen. I'm here to remind you that what you're telling me is valid, and to help you tap into your inner strength and wisdom.
I believe you.
I believe you.
I believe you, and I will support you through your healing.
You are not alone.
The work of the YWCA has never been more relevant than it is in our times right now. We focus on eliminating racism and empowering women. We care for victims of abuse. Any individual in our community who has faced domestic violence, sexual assault, or human trafficking should be able to come to the YWCA and receive services. We are here to advocate for system change around racial and gender equity within our community, and then also improving the lives of children.
We are here for you 24/7.
This is your space. Your sessions are in your control. I will not force you to make any decisions.
Trauma is more common than you think.
And we really believe that the best possible way to end the false information around human trafficking, sexual assault, and domestic violence is to talk about it whenever the time is right for you.
Puedes hablar conmigo.
Walaman.
Here you can find shelter and legal assistance. Your story is safe.
And we'll write it together in your own voice.
We as a team will do everything in our power to make sure you are connected to the community resources.
If you're pregnant, an expecting mother, we bring services for you as a pregnant woman, and we bring services for your child.
You'll have access to early learning and quality childcare, allowing you to know that your child is safe, learning, and having fun. Women and parents of young children need a support system.
How am I going to feed my child tomorrow? How am I going to pay my rent tomorrow? Who's going to be my advocate when I go to the court? We're here to support you.
Equity is at the heart of everything we do here at the YWCA, and it is not limited to what we are doing within these four walls. We cannot empower any marginalized community until we eliminate racism.
Change isn't easy.
But it's absolutely necessary.
Damos voces a los sin voces, seremos tu apoyo.
It's about being intentional on lifting up the most vulnerable population because somebody out there is counting on us. So if you're out there and cannot be loud, the YWCA movement will raise their voice on your behalf.
You don't have to do anything you're not ready for.
But when you are ready,
We're here.
We are here.
We're here.
Eliminating racism.
Eliminating racism.
Eliminating racism.
And empowering women.
Those are some dreams unfolding right there. And we have an opportunity next week to put in a pledge card to the Dream Fund. So I hope that you'll look for that this week and look for that opportunity next Sunday. And if you need any more information, there are folks that are sitting right here that have name tags on them that say Dream Team on them. You can ask them all the questions that you have. There's information and literature up at the Welcome Center as well. But now for today, let's talk about how we can make change happen right here today in our very own church. Elizabeth, would you share with us, please?
Good morning. So today's Loose Change offering goes to a ministry at Kalamazoo First that I work with and love dearly called Helping Our Neighbor, or as we call it, HON. Helping. HON is a financial assistance ministry in which we work with guests to help with evictions and utility shutoffs. This would be us here in this room, in the other worship services, as well as people who feel they are a part of Kalamazoo First. Neighbor. The guests we see are people from this community, whether that is here in this church, people we pass in the park, in the grocery store, and around town. Recently, part of my work with HON is to grow an intentional hospitality with a refreshments table providing beverages and snacks, and having a volunteer each week at our clinic to sit down and take the time to listen to our guests who are coming in, hear their stories, and just build relationship with people we're seeing. So there's multiple opportunities for us all here in this room, in this church, to support HON. Financial support with Loose Change offering, or anytime you would like to donate. Food donations for the new hospitality food table. And then time. You can volunteer at our clinic on Thursdays, 9:45 to noon. And there are other ways to volunteer, which I would be happy to talk with you about after worship.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Let's help keep some lights on for some families in our neighborhood. Will you come down as you are able and offer up your loose change to make some change in this community? And if you don't have any loose change, I know you got a prayer, so you can come rub this cup, fill it up with your prayers. Come on down.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. I'm gonna let my little light shine.
Here's another way to put it. You're here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We're going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that I've put you there on a hilltop, on a light stand, shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you'll promote people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven.
See and taste the flowing Godhead through your being. Feel the Holy Spirit moving and compelling you within the flowing fire and light of God.
Stand up and move if you want to. Go ahead. It's all right. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. I'm gonna let my little light shine.
Were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?
The day will come when, after we have mastered the winds, the waves, the tides, and gravity, we shall harness for God the energies of love. Then, for the second time in the history of the world, we will have discovered fire.
Lie down in the fire and see and taste the flowing Godhead in your being. Feel the Holy Spirit move in you, compelling you to love God, his fire, his flowing in many different ways.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. I'm gonna let my little light shine.
You, God, are a fire that always burns without consuming. You are a fire consuming in its heat every compartment of the soul's self-absorbed love. You are a fire lifting all chill and giving all light. In your light, you show me your truth. You are the light that outshines every light. You, God, give the mind's eye your divine light so completely and excellently. You bring lucidity even to the light of faith. In that faith, I see my soul has life, and in that light, I receive you, who you are light itself.
It is necessary for me to see the first point of light which begins to be dawn. It is necessary to be present alone at the resurrection of day, in the solemn silence at which the sun appears.
There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. I'm gonna let my little light shine. Do you remember the scene from Hunger Games? Katniss and Peeta are making their appearance into the game's opening ceremony. Katniss' stylist, Cinna, has designed for her a dress and a costume for Peeta, inspired by District 12's coal mining industry. As they roll into the amphitheater and stare down President Snow, their outfits catch fire. And as you can see, Peeta grabbed Katniss' hand to add even a little more fire to the event as a way of captivating people to them and their fight for survival. The duo amazes the audience, and Katniss becomes known as the girl on fire. So I'm not sure how many Hunger Game fans that we have in the house today. Am I going to show me the hand? Are you a Hunger Game fan? Oh, yeah. I do know that when the Hunger Games trilogy was coming out, the youth tribe and I were completely captivated. We loved it. We held a Hunger Games series that lasted for weeks. Everyone was divided up into districts, and we held competitions that paralleled those challenges that the tributes had during the games. And we engaged in biblical lessons of justice and oppression and how to be people of faith who love kindness, who do justice, and walk humbly with the Creator. It remains one of my favorite series that we have done in Youth Tribe. And I still have my Mockingjay pin on my backpack, and I'm not taking it off. The girl on fire, even though she is a fictional character from a dystopian novel, is an inspiration to me. And I believe a necessary character of strength, courage, and vulnerability for our young people. A revolutionary spirit she is. And it's all captured in this quote. I am not pretty. I am not beautiful. I am as radiant as the sun. And then there is Alicia Keys, another woman on fire, who is also an inspiration and a talent beyond measure. She wrote this song that our girls and Jackie helped us to recreate, and it was inspired by the birth of her son, Egypt. This girl is on fire. She's walking on fire. This girl is on fire. Oh, we got our feet on the ground, and we're burning it down. Oh, we got our heads in the clouds, and we're not coming down. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. She's walking on fire. So what does it mean? What does it mean to become fire? Now, fire does have an impact upon our spiritual life. We use it as a symbol every time that we gather for worship. Fire represents the light of Christ. We kindle the flame of peace, just as we did when we began this morning. And now, if I ask you all, I have a pretty good feeling you tell me that you adore the Christmas Eve worship service. When we all light those candles and we hold them high and we sing, Silent Night, yes. And we gaze around the room and we look and we know that there is hope. And when we bring those candles back down, we have a hard time putting those candles out, don't we? It's so hard to blow that candle out because we want to savor that moment. We want to hold on to that tender time when the emotional and spiritual well inside of us is full. It's a moment that we want to take with us as we journey through life. These tender and emboldening moments come to us as the fire of illumination, of purification, and we yearn to become
that invitation to be fire. And we desire to have the living flame burning within us, the flame of love. So Jesus tells us that with the coming of the Son of Man, as Christ comes to earth, there will be signs, and they'll be found in the sun and the moon and the stars. And we find ourselves fascinated with these heavenly bodies. So, on a starlit night, have you ever found yourself lying on your back, gazing up at all of those stars, just hoping that you might find or catch a shooting star? A full moon in all of her glory can stop us in our tracks and fill us with illumination that believes that all things are possible. And I don't know about you, but after a long Michigan winter, I am yearning for that sun to come and warm my body and renew my heart. Yes, Christ, come. Come again and bring us your signs of divine presence. Becoming fire means letting our passion for life and beauty ignite us in this world. St. Ignatius of Loyola, with wisdom, said this: "We are called to set the whole world on fire with our passion for God." So as Christians, we are light chasers with a fire that burns in our hearts. The early disciples on the way to Emmaus, following the resurrection of Jesus, were joined by a fellow traveler as they were talking. And they were talking all about these strange things that had happened. But their eyes were kept from recognizing who this stranger really was. So with excitement and fire within, they told the stories of Jesus and about how after he was crucified, the women went to the tomb, and finding it empty, what did they see? A blazing vision of angels that told them that Jesus was alive. It was then that this fellow traveler began to teach them about the prophets and the ways of the Messiah. It wasn't until they had actually convinced him to stay the night and that they sat down at the table and that he broke the bread, and their eyes and their hearts were opened. And they were able to recognize the risen Lord right there in their presence. And they said to themselves, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?" On the road to resurrection, Jesus opened the disciples' eyes so that rather than being blind, they could see. Through his resurrection, Jesus transforms his disciples, making their perception sharper, and they were able to behold Christ as he truly is, a source of radiance in this world. So in this season of Eastertide, we have an opportunity to embrace the spiritual discipline of seeing the light that exists in the world and becoming light chasers and light bearers. With the living flame burning within him, Jesus proclaimed this to his disciples: "You're here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God is not to be kept a secret. We're going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think that I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that you're there on the hilltop, on a light stand, shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives by opening up to others. You'll prompt people to be open with God, this generous Father in heaven. Becoming fire. Being the light of the world means saying yes by the very way that we choose to live. However we choose to creatively express our fire is the way that we tap into what is most vital and alive within us. Now, it may be that burning in our heart is to be expressed to the world through art, cooking, gardening, our work, relationships, caregiving, song, woodworking, or serving others. St. Ignatius also spoke of the deepest desires of our hearts being planted by God. Now, all too often, we allow the world, or at least the world teaches us, to mistrust the desires of our heart. Or we may allow others to tamp them out with criticism, with negativity, or a toxic attitude. Our Eastertide spiritual discipline is to tune back in to our heart's desire. Just as the disciples did on the road to Emmaus, we must open ourselves to the Christ that travels with us. We must sometimes pause on the road and take a rest stop to listen and discern the desires that come from God, and also be aware of the desires that may be coming from our wills or our egos. Fire symbolizes what we are most passionate about, what we love the most, and where we stoke and kindle the flames of courage. This is the divine light that is within us. It's the source of our vitality and our energy. We are to be light bearers, light chasers, and fire tenders. It is actually a radical act to tend to the God flame that is within us and beyond us. Tending the God flame is a commitment that requires toughness and tenacity, wisdom, self-control, and tenderness. At times, bearing light and love to ourselves and to others can be easy work. We can do it with tenderness, sometimes even giddiness. But entering into a radical act of love, being a fire keeper who enters the core of the flame, demands a certain toughness, a willingness to face our fears and grow beyond our own expectations. It means at times that we have to let that flame breathe, and we don't demand a response from it right away. We give the embers a chance to simmer, and patience is cultivated. At times, it means that we let the flame leap and dance and bring itself back under control, and we learn not to be burned by this dance of passion. Tending to the God flame that is within us and beyond us is an ongoing process of discernment that requires plenty of prayer. So you remember that early on in this series that we are a part of, Praying with the Elements, water, wind, earth, and fire, that we created prayer flags. You see them right there on your tables, right? This was our way of releasing prayerful intentions to the wind, hoping that the wind would carry our prayers across the community, across our world. Now, after we created these prayer flags in worship, we placed them on twine. And later in the week, Austin, our facilities caretaker, hung them out on the front of the church. You remember? Look, check it out if you don't remember. Here they are. They were beautiful. They were glorious. And our prayer flags danced on the wind from early February until just before Easter. And dance on the wind they did indeed. Mag, show them this video I took. Listen. Do you remember that we had multiple windstorms, high wind days frequently? Do you remember we had this thing called a bomb cyclone? What is that? Our prayer flags did their work. With the wind beneath them, who knows how far our prayers have reached. But they may have even gone all the way to Tibet, where this ancient form of praying began. You may remember that also that the prayer flags have different significance with their colors. Blue symbolizes sky and space. White symbolizes air and wind. Red symbolizes fire, and green symbolizes water. And yellow symbolizes earth. The balance of all of the elements is said to bring about inward and outward harmony. And as the wind blows through them, the vibration of the prayers and the spiritual intentions for all beings to be well spreads to find fulfillment. Now, there's a cyclical nature to the carrying and the disposing of prayer flags. They should always be treated with respect. They should be considered holy. And they should never just be thrown into the trash. The proper way to dispose of prayer flags is to burn them so that the smoke may carry their blessings to the heavens. So as we close this worship series of praying with the elements, we close it with an understanding that prayer is an essential portion of our life of faith. True prayer increases our capacity for love. It helps us to widen our circle of who is in our loving care. Prayer makes the depth of our love more profound. So in just a few moments, we're going to actually venture outside. And Jim has been tending a fire for us out there, and we're going to offer our prayers to the fire so that the smoke may carry our blessings wide and far as we acknowledge our essential need to be people of prayer. Now, as we participate in this ritual, we will embody the words of Hildegard of Bingen. Listen, I'm the secret fire in everything. And everything smells like me, the living breath, my sweet perfume. And they breathe out praise of me. They never die because I am their life. I flame out intense, godly life over the shining fields of corn. I glow in the shimmer of the fire's embers. I burn in the sun and the moon and the stars. The secret life of me breathes in the wind and holds all things together soulfully. This is God's voice. So before we go out and enter into this prayerful offering, we will first prayerfully offer our gifts and tithes to the life and ministries of First United Methodist Church. So I would remind you that our vision is to be a faith community that is alive in Christ, open to all, growing in faith and serving our neighbors. It is through this offering of our gifts and tithes that we will make this vision possible. So I'd ask if you would please come forward and offer your gifts, your tithes. And again, if you can't do that, you've got a prayer, always, that you can give to the life and the ministries of this church. Let us offer ourselves.
There's a little flame inside us all. Some shine bright, some shine small. The rains will come and the waters rise, but don't you ever lose your light. In this life you will know love and pain, joy and sorrow. So when it hurts, when times get hard, don't forget whose child you are. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let May you live each day with no regrets. Make the most of every chance you get. Let your eyes get wide when you look at the stars, with the same sense of wonder as a child's heart. With the ones you love, treasure their time, and for those who are gone, keep their memories alive. Hold on to your dreams, don't ever let go. There's a fire inside you, burning with hope. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. There will be days when you wanna give up, when clouds settle in. But after the rain comes the sun, don't you ever forget. Don't forget. Try and don't forget. One day there will be no more pain, and we will finally see Jesus' face. So until then, I'm gonna try to brave the dark and let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. Oh, shine, gonna let it shine. There's a little light inside us all.
And the people of God all said, Amen. Kelsey, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Fiery God, we praise you for the light and for its simple resistance to darkness. We praise you for the radiance that never ceases to stream into us in our world. We praise you for the tinder that you have placed within us that waits patiently and quietly for us to allow a single ember into our hearts so that we may be set ablaze with you. Amen.
So I invite you to join me outside for our closing prayers. Our prayer flags are on the tables, and I hope that you'll take a flag as you go. Now, there's not enough for everybody because some of our flags actually blew away, but that's okay. That's what they're supposed to do. So when we go outside, I'm going to ask you to make a circle around the fire. And as I name one of those prayerful intentions that is found upon our prayer flags, I'm just going to ask for randomly for 5 or 6 of you to come forward and to place your flag into the fire. And then we will respond to the prayerful intention that I raise up with, Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. And then I'll name another intention. And then 5 or 6 more of you will come forward and we'll place their flags into the fire. And we will respond again. Lord, in your mercy, receive our prayers. So again, there may or may not be a flag for everyone to put into the fire, but I am confident that each and every one of us have a prayer or a blessing that we can offer as we circle around this fire.